Today we're going to cover what may be the most difficult test of faith you will ever face. The question is, what happens when God says no? What happens when God does not answer the most desperate prayer of your life? This happened for John the Baptist. He was in prison. He was on death row, and Jesus did not rescue him. We'll come to that. But first, here's a quick word about the complicated political environment in the world that John and Jesus knew. When we open the New Testament, the Romans are ruling a vast empire. Judea, the land we now know as Israel, was a tiny part of the empire, but it was a vitally important area. Land travel between 3 continents came through Judea. There were many political leaders in Judea, and as you read the New Testament, 5 kings are mentioned, and they all go by the name of Herod. That's confusing. Our focus today is on Herod Antipas, the man who ordered John's execution. Before Jesus was born, Herod the Great ruled all of Judea. After his death, his son, Herod Antipas, ruled in the Galilee region, and he established his headquarters first in Zipporah and second in Tiberias. Well, Jesus grew up in Nazareth, just 6 miles from Zipporah. And as for Tiberias, that's just 6 miles across the lake from Capernaum, where Jesus based his ministry. So, Jesus and Herod Antipas were always in close proximity, but they never met until the last day of Jesus' life. And on that day, Jesus spoke not one word to Herod. This is important. Jesus would have civil conversations with Pilate, the Roman governor, but he would not say a word to Herod Antipas. That was the man who had killed his relative John. John did more than just baptize people in the Jordan River. John was a courageous preacher, and the people considered him to be a national prophet. He pulled no punches. So when Antipas married his sister-in-law Herodias, John made sure all of Judea knew about the immoral situation. And Herodias hated John the Baptist. Antipas finally had John arrested. According to the historian Josephus, John was held in a prison on the eastern side of the Dead Sea at a fortress called Machaerus. A great banquet was held here, and Herod Antipas and his guests were being entertained. Herodias was there. After a lot of wine had been consumed, Herodias used her own daughter to tantalize the men in the dining hall. Only a few minutes after the girl danced, John's head had been served up on a platter. You know, the very idea that a teenage girl carried a severed head to her mother, who accepted it proudly, well, that gives you an idea of how messed up this Herodian family was. That's a lot of context for this passage, but it's really important to know that background because, again, John did not deserve to be in prison. He deserved to be honored. Instead, he was on death row. He must have been asking God for a miraculous release from his prison. God had protected Daniel in the lion's den and Daniel's 3 friends from a fiery furnace. God had protected Elijah and Elisha. God would later release John and Simon Peter from prison, not once, but twice for each disciple. So what about John the Baptist? Why wouldn't God answer his prayer? While he was in prison at Machaerus, John asked his disciples to go to Jesus with a question. Are you the one to come or not? Are you the Messiah or not? Are you able to get me out of this prison or not? When Jesus sent his reply back, he did so by quoting Isaiah. That's a classic way for a rabbi to communicate with his people. Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, those who have leprosy are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. You know what else Isaiah had promised about the coming Messiah? The Messiah, Isaiah had promised, would set the prisoners free. He would release the captives. And Jesus knew what Isaiah had said about prisoners. He had used that very line in his sermon at Nazareth, but he left it out when replying to John. And it was a message. By leaving out that part of Isaiah's prophecy in his reply, Jesus was saying, John, not this time. I am sorry. But the thing you want me to do for you, I am not going to do. Then Jesus added something that is critically important. He said to John, John's disciples, to all who were listening then, and to us, "Blessed is anyone who does not stumble because of me." John knew Jesus was the Messiah. He had baptized Jesus. When things were going well, he was sure that Jesus was the promised one. But in his time in prison, well, that was very distressing. He was depressed. He didn't deserve to be there. He deserved to be honored. But instead of God granting him his freedom, John was executed by a godless man. And Jesus told him not to stumble in those most difficult hours. Jesus asked him to stay faithful, to keep believing. We don't know how John reacted to the answer Jesus sent him. We only know that our lives can be filled with terribly difficult circumstances. So here's your question. Will you still follow Jesus if Jesus doesn't set you free from prison or disease or grief? Like John in prison, you may be facing that question now. You might be facing it in the very near future. This is a test of faith so severe, many turn away at this point. They stumble. So it's an important question, and it's completely up to you how you answer it.